Okay, welcome everyone. Tonight I'm going to show you the bigger vision of Web3 Sonic, right? This is about building your own network on chain using the power of Web3 technology, AI agents, and digital assets. What you're looking at, right, is the future direction of Web3 Sonic and the introduction of Web3 Claw, right, which is powered by OpenClaw, right, which is our AI agent platform. It was just released. Had some security issues in the beginning, but right now it's been locked down and secure and very, very, very powerful. If you just do a search on YouTube, you'll see how many people are utilizing this platform to basically completely rebuild their lives and how they run their business. You can basically create an AI agent to do pretty much anything that you're doing, especially in the tech space, right? And you can compensate. You can be compensated for any of those tasks, right? So let me run through the presentation. Uh, Web3 Sonic is about building networks on chain, right? Again, my name is Shay Shiva. We have four starter packages or recommended packages, right? The $100 level, the 250, 500, and the 1000, right? So the way we break that down is we try to get you activated in all four contracts. So that you can start earning in Bitcoin, in Ethereum, in USDC, and in Sonic, right? And as you scale up, you can join at 250, 500, 1,000, right? But the key thing to understand here is how the platform works, right? So let me run through these slides here. So basically, if you're paying attention, right, you know that the economy is changing, right? You know things are rapidly changing. We're currently at the fastest rate of unemployment for the first 3 months in history, right? Over close to 1,000 people a day are being laid off, right? And those numbers are scary, right? And it's because of AI, right? Companies are restructuring themselves, especially tech companies, right? And I'm in the tech space. I've been in the tech space now for 30 plus years, right? So we're seeing a big shift, right, in terms of how companies are positioning themselves, right? And it makes sense, right? Why would you not have an employee that can be working 24/7 for you that doesn't ever call in sick, right? And does everything you want it to do over and over every single day, right? So not only that, this model is very scalable, right? Because once you train your agent on how to do a one task, you can train 10 agents to do that task, right? So you can scale yourself. So this is the new model. We're very, very excited about it, right? And that's what Web3 is all about, right? And Web3 Sonic, right? We've rebranded not rebranded, but added our new or our first product, right? I would say, which is powered by OpenClaw, right? And the whole goal here is to show you how you can earn instant commissions sharing this platform with others, right? The commission payouts are 100% on all your direct referrals and 25% four levels above or deep right below you, right? So as you build your team, those let's say you share this platform with 10 people, right? You're going to get 50% of those commissions are going to be 100%, and the other 50%, right? The other five are going to be 25% each, right? It's a very, very simple comp plan, but very, very powerful. It doesn't need a lot of people to work. What it does need is duplication, right? And that's why we use the AI technology to help you get that automation, right? And that's what OpenClaw is all about, right? This is a global platform, right? So the only thing that you need is a wallet. You can download the Rabby wallet. The website's rabby.io, and you can download and install that wallet in your browser, in your Chrome browser, or on your phone. And the way Web3 works is it's not like a traditional browser, right? So you have to have the wallet either installed in the browser Or if you have it installed on your phone, then you have to open up the website in the wallet, right, in order to activate your account and log in, right? So the beauty of this technology, right, is privacy, right? It's secure, it's private, and it's authenticating your account based on your wallet address, right? That's basically how it's communicating with the blockchain is through your wallet address. You're the only person that has access to that wallet. It comes with 12 word private key, right? That is unique to you, right? That combination of those 12 words, right, is very, very hard to crack. Right now, they're saying that with quantum computing, right, they'll be able to figure it out, but there's going to be more security coming that's going to protect us, right? They're not just going to leave the current security, right? So we are probably going to go to a more complex private key system, right? In the future. But for now, your wallet is what authenticates you. It doesn't have a name attached to it. It doesn't have a social security number attached to it. It's your private wallet. It's in directly on the blockchain, and no one knows that you own it except you, or unless you share it and tell anyone, right? And again, your wallet is like your bank account number, right? You can give it out, right? If someone wants to pay you, right, they can pay you with directly to your bank account number. They can't withdraw funds from it, right? You're the only person that has access to withdraw funds, right? But anybody can deposit into it, right? So it comes with that built-in security. Now, Web3 Sonic is powered by smart contracts. Right? Smart contracts are code that's built on the blockchain, that's written on the blockchain, right? Once you deploy that code to the blockchain, it can't be changed. Right now, you can make updates to it, right? Like we can change our token prices, right? The level prices. I do have the ability to adjust certain things, right? But we can't change the logic in the compensation plan, right? We can't delete anyone from the smart contract. We can replace the smart contract with a new one, and we just did that after a year of, running with the original smart contract, right? And then we migrated all the users over to the new smart contracts, which we deployed roughly about, the last call we had, right? A week or two ago. And what was it? February 22nd, right? Or the 17th, I think we initially deployed, but by the time we went live, it was, 222, I think was our official launch date, right, for the Web Claw version that we deployed, right, which was version 2 of Web3 Sonic, right? And we had the 3 by 2 matrix, right, for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDC. But I didn't really see any performance or benefits over our existing comp plan, right? And one of the things that we want to make sure that we're doing consistently is keeping the platform simple and easy for you to explain to others, right? So the current comp plan that we have works. It's very, very powerful. It doesn't have any recurring fees like the other 3 by 2 matrix did. When you cycled, you have to pay again, right? You don't have that. It's one time out of pocket, right? And that's it, right? You never have to pay for it again, right? You own those levels for life, and you can, resell them for, as many as you want. There's loan limits, right? Every single transaction that you refer to that smart contract, you're being compensated, right? Either odd 100% or 25% on one of the four levels below you, right? But Web3 Sonic is the network, right? Web3 Claw is how we build this thing, right? So we know the smart contracts work. Those of you who have been members, right, with us from the beginning, right? You've seen the smart contract work. You know it works, right? You don't have to guess or worry, right? If you send someone with your ID number and they send a Sonic or Bitcoin or Ethereum or USDC to the smart contract, right, with your ID number, those funds are going to go straight into your wallet, right? Doesn't matter if you're looking at it or you're not looking at it. You don't have to trust me, right? You trust the blockchain, you trust the smart contract, right? And if you're monitoring your wallet with the tools that we give you, right, you can be instantly notified every time a transaction comes in, right? And you can go directly to the blockchain and you can verify that. So that's some of the technology that we've built into with Web3 Claw, right? And we'll go into a little bit about that. But again, the comp plan is very simple, right? It's an odd even structure. So every odd referral, you get 100%, right? So that's your first referral, your third, your fifth, your seventh, your ninth, your right, your 11th, your 13th, your 15th to infinity. Right? As many people as you refer on that first level, which means those are your direct referrals, you're getting 100% on the even referrals. So two, four, six, eight, right? Those referrals you get 25%, right? But you get 25% four levels below you, right? So you refer someone, that's your first level. They refer someone, that's your second level. That person refers someone, that's the third level, right? That person refers someone, that's the fourth level, right? And you're getting 25%. So it creates a lot of leverage. It doesn't need, the comp plan doesn't need 20 levels in order for you to earn money, right? Four levels, it creates a lot of leverage because it is high ticket, right? And that's one of the things that, you'll learn that's worked for me is high ticket is the only way to make money in this space, right? If you're selling something for $5 or $20 or whatever, or you're selling a subscription, right? You have to make a lot of sales in order to make money, right? And it takes the same amount of work for you to close someone at 100, 250, 500, or 1,000, right? Or right, even 25,000, right? If you're focusing on $25,000 commissions, you're gonna make them, right? And that's where I am at right now, right? I'm looking for high ticket people who are looking to earn 25,000, 10,000, $5,000 commissions, $1,000 commissions, 500, right? 250, right? Or $100, right? The lowest level is $5. You want to start for $5, do that, right? But you're gonna have to sell a lot of those memberships, right? In order to make money with the platform. So let's go back here. This is the next slide, right? So Web3 Sonic is all about acquiring digital assets, right? It's being paid. It's getting paid in Bitcoin, getting paid in Ethereum, right? Getting paid in USDC, which is a stable coin, right? It doesn't go up or down, right? Or getting paid in Sonic, which we think has a lot of upside potential, but it's gonna take a little bit of time to get there. We are built on the Sonic blockchain, right? So speed, right? Instant confirmation, right? You transfer $1 million in Bitcoin, it's instantly in your wallet, right? For less than a penny per transaction, right? The smart contract, why we like smart contracts is because they're automated, right? They're immutable, meaning they can't be changed, right? So the logic can't be changed and the transactions clears instantly, right? So you get paid instantly straight to your wallet. So when we say instant pay, we really mean that, right? And again, we're focused on blockchain technology, right? Web3, DeFi, right? And AI automation, right? Using OpenClaw agents. Now, what exactly is OpenClaw, right? OpenClaw is it's a dashboard, right? That you can plug any AI agent that you want, right? Whether it's Chat GPT or Claude or Gemini or DeepSeek, whichever agent you want to use, you can plug that into OpenClaw, right? And you can start interacting with it directly, right? You can communicate with it directly from your WhatsApp, directly from your Telegram, right? And you can configure it, right? You can create as many agents as you want, right? And you can go into any business, right? That's doing a lot of repetitive tasks, right? Maybe HR, right? Things like that, right? And you can automate, you can show those companies how to automate that thing, right? They don't have to hire people, accountants, right? So a lot of these jobs, right, are going to be phased out, right, because of AI, right? Because now you can hire an AI agent for $100 a month, right, in order to run that entire portion of your business rather than paying an employee, right, 40, for 40 hours a week. So you can see why companies are shifting to this model, right? It's inevitable, right? There's nothing that we can do to stop it, right? But the people who recognize this change and get ahead of it, right? You could position yourself, right? So again, we have four tokens that you're getting paid at the same time, right? Sonic, Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDC, and we're using, right, the wrapped version of those tokens, right? So the blockchain that we're on is the Sonic blockchain, right? So all the transactions are happening on Sonic, right? So it's Bitcoin on Sonic, Bitcoin on Ethereum, I'm sorry, Ethereum on Sonic, USDC on Sonic, and then obviously Sonic is our native token, right? But you can instantly transfer those tokens for any token that you want, right? That's the beauty of the blockchain, right? All of these blockchains are connected, right? So if you got WBTC and you wanted to swap that for real Bitcoin, you can instantly do that, right? Now you're gonna have to pay transaction fees for that, and that's why we like Sonic and we keep everything on Sonic because our transaction fees are less than a penny, right? And it's the same value. And can be audited, right, in real time to verify that, right? It's not like we're making it up and telling you that this is Bitcoin, right? You can go directly to the WBTC network and verify that smart contract, right? It's held in an Ethereum smart contract, and that's what Ethereum is known for, right? Is smart contracts, right? That's why it's an EVM. It's an Ethereum virtual machine, right? That's what EVM stands for. Now, again, our comp plan is very simple, right? Nothing too complicated, right? You refer 100 people, 50 of them are going to be odd, 50 of them are going to be even. Very, 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 very simple, right? You're either getting paid 100% or 25%. So it's very easy to explain this, how this works to people, right? Again, we don't take any admin fees. I make money the same way that you're making money, right? Um, and again, this is focused on cash flow, right? Immediate income. Plus, you get the leverage from your network as your network grows. Now, keep in mind, your odd referrals are also going to have even referrals, right? So that's another 25% you're getting off of your odd referrals also, right? People think that it's only their even referrals, but your odd referrals are going to go out and refer people too, and their even referrals are going to pay you 25%, right? So we don't even, discuss that in the comp plan, but if you do the math yourself, right, you'll see as those people come in, even if they're under your odd or even, you're still earning under that leg, right? So that's why we like to call this the infinity matrix because it really is truly unlimited, right? There's nothing else out there like this comp plan. Um, and I won't take all the credit for creating it. The AI helped me create it, so I'll give them a little bit of credit, right? But the core concept, um, we just happen to drill it down, right? So when you bring someone in, right, these are just the smart contract is dealing in tokens that go up in value or go down in value, right? They're dynamic, right? They're not static, right? So when we say $100, that means it's $100 worth of Sonic tokens at the time of purchase. Right now, depending on the price of each of those tokens, right? The price of Bitcoin, the price of Ethereum, the price of Sonic, right? You'll have to adjust which levels you'll be able to activate, right? However, the platform will calculate that for you in real time, right? So it's different for everyone else, right? The people who are signing up now, right? People who are signing up 6 months from now are probably not going to be able to activate the same levels, right? Which is a good thing, right? That means that the platform is working, right? And it's doing exactly what we expect it to do. Right now, we are in the middle of a war. Hopefully not World War III, but things are not good right now. So the crypto market is reacting to that. And now is a very, very good time for people to come in, right? Because they're getting into Ethereum, they're getting into Bitcoin and Sonic, right, at ridiculously low prices, right? Compared to where we think things are going to be, let's say 6 months, a year from now, right? Because crypto isn't going anywhere, right? Crypto is probably the only thing that's going to save us from this hot mess that's going on in the world right now, right? Whether you believe that or not, I believe that without a doubt, right? And that's why I am so focused on teaching people how to tap into this technology, right? Before it's too late, right? Because this here I built to work without me, right? It's gonna grow. My AI agents are going to do all kinds of things to promote it without me having to be here, right? I'm just in the process right now of just training them. Once I get, 100, 250, right? Right now we're about 100 agents active, right? That are promoting ID 126, right? And we're early in that phase right now. There's a lot of people on this call who are part of our back when we initially started, our rotator system, right? And all of you, your accounts are also active, right? There's agents that are being trained with your ID number as we speak, right? How quickly they go to work, right? It depends on you, right? The we need, in order for the AI agents to work, they need access to your social media profiles, right? In order to work on your behalf. So the quicker that you get those things set up and you plug your Instagram username, your LinkedIn profile, your Twitter profile, your YouTube profile into the AI agents, right? I can't do that for you, right? I don't. Everyone has to do that part themselves. But we're going to give you the technology for you to go in and learn how to do that, right? But four levels we recommend everybody start off with, right? Obviously, ideally, right, you're looking for people to come in and get started right off the bat at $1,000, right? If they're bringing in someone at $1,000, they get their money back, right, with one referral, right? And at that point, right, that one referral could go out and bring in 100 people, right? And half of those would pay you 25%, right, without you doing anything else but bringing in one person. So it's a very, very powerful structure, right? And again, you don't have to understand how it works, right? The progression or the exponential growth is incredible, right? But by us keeping it simple, right? You refer 10, they each go get 10, right? That's 100 people you have on your second level, right? Those 10, the 100 go get 10, that's 1,000 you have on your third level, right? Level four, right? 1,000 by 10, that's 10,000, right? 25%, right? Across the board, right? On half of those, right? So it's 50-50, right? Those people get paid on all their odds. They're keeping the commission, and all the evens they're sharing, right? One of the things that we're working on right now with OpenAI, right, is automating its ability to earn, right? So not only is it going out and finding us people every day, right? Right now I have it finding me 100 people that are looking for jobs every single day, right? We get their email address, we get their resume, we get this is all public, right? They're posting it on public places looking for jobs, right? And we're targeting, salespeople, people in the crypto space, right? And every day I can ask Michelle, who is my chief of staff, right? She runs all my sub agents, right? Brandy's middle name is Michelle, so that's for those of you who know my wife, Brandy. But my AI agents are going out and contacting those people, right? While they look for their jobs. Yeah, go look for your job. Go look for your job security or whatever, right? But while you're doing that, why not come work for us? Right? You can get started for, less than $5, right? You can activate your account, right? You can wait until you have a sale before you activate your account. Of course, that's very, very risky, right? Because if you send somebody to the website and they like it and they go sign up, you're going to miss out on all those commissions, right? If you're not active. But it is possible, right? It is possible to start this business with zero out of pocket, right? Just activate your account, get an ID number, and as soon as you have that first sale, that commission comes right back to you, right? So you activate your account, they activate after you, and you get that commission right back in, right? And you can choose whether you want to start at 100, 500, 250, 1,000, whatever it is, right? Very, very powerful model, right? And again, we're focused on the AI digital workforce, right? We believe that this technology is transforming the world right now, right? If you're paying attention to the news, right, you see, the government is fighting, right, about which AI model to use, right? Is it Anthropic, right? Is it Claude, right? Or is it OpenAI, right? And so that this technology is transforming the world, right? Whether or not you tap into it or use it, right? We think that everybody should be using this technology, right? And our AI agents are specifically designed to help you automate this process, right? To everything from learning how the platform works, right? From the educational piece, right? To learning how to use your Web3 wallet, right? You can ask the AI, you can interact with your Web3 open claw agents, right? And you can ask them, right? If you want to swap, right, your Bitcoin for Ethereum or USDC, right? You can literally just ask the AI to do it for you, right? No longer do you have to figure it out by yourself, right? You give it your wallet address and you ask it, how do you do this? And the AI will walk you through step by step. And we are training our agents, right, on how to do that, right? So we have a main agent, right? And when you become a member of Web3 Sonic, now you don't have to get OpenClaw. We highly recommend everybody on the planet sets up an OpenClaw instance, right? Because it's your personal AI assistant and you can literally run it for free, right? Now you have to have a computer, right? Or you have to host it in the cloud, right? If you have it on your computer, right, you need to make sure that it's very powerful, right? So if you're going to put it on your computer, right, like my agent is not on my computer, right? It's running on my VPS, right, which is a server, a virtual server in the cloud, right? I have different AI apps on my computer, right? But I'm not giving an agent my computer, right? He could take over my computer and do whatever whatever he wants, right? Because I've trained him to be autonomous, right? So he every day, my AI agents, right? I keep saying he, but it's a bunch of he's and she's. I have a combination, right? But we're focused on with this technology, right? You're tapping into blockchain technology, right? We're cutting out all the middleman, showing you how to tap in directly to the blockchain infrastructure, right? Not only Sonic, right? We're on multiple different blockchains, but primarily Sonic, right? We have Monad also. We haven't really started promoting Monad. Just because we've been focused more on the AI part of it, right? And Monad's there, it hasn't, the token itself hasn't done anything as yet, right? So it's not going anywhere. But those of you who were members in Web3 Sonic, when we launched Web3 Monad, you got free access to that system, right? And again, our whole strategy here is about acquiring digital assets, right? Getting paid in Bitcoin, getting paid in Ethereum, getting paid in USDC, and getting paid in Sonic, right? That's the best way to earn, right? Is to have something to sell, something to market, whether it's a product or a service or whatever it is that you're doing, right? And with these AI agents, you can offer all kinds of products and services, right? You can show people how to, you can build websites for people, right? You don't even need to know how to code. You just ask your agent, hey, I have this store, like this restaurant in my neighborhood, and they can't afford a web designer, right? Can you build a preview of what their new website would look like? Right. And then you could take a picture of that and send it and say, hey, look, I can help you build your website. Right. No, I can't afford it. Well, how much can you afford? Right. And you can work with any business in any area. Right. And you can show them how to expose themselves, right? And to be more professional with this technology, right? I'm not going to tell you I'm using it for a million different things, right? I've been able to optimize literally 100 different areas in my life. I didn't even know I had 100 areas in my life I needed optimization, right? Before I started using AI, right? But I'm training an agent to do a specific task for me, right? You can have one agent do everything, but then he gets really stupid, right? So it's best to separate, to have one main agent and then add as many sub agents that are doing whatever you want, right? So we have a lot of different sub agents that are doing different things, but the key here, right, to keep this simple is to position yourself right in the ecosystem, right? You download the wallet, you fund it, you activate your account, you get an ID number. That ID number is tied to your wallet address, right? And you are permanently locked into Web3 Sonic. And at that point, you upgrade as you are ready, right? You start off at either 100, either 250, 500, or 1,000. And then from there, right, you share the platform with other people, and you get paid instantly and you tap into the education. So let me run through Web3 Claw, right? You guys are seeing this for the very first time. We just activated the front end. This is connected to several AI agents on the back end. And then as you get your agent going, if you want to have an agent, right, there's also an app that you can install if you have a computer now, right, that you can interact with. Now you have to have some model, right? There's free models that you can use, but then security is not as great on the free models, right? So You can use Chat GPT, right? 5.4 just came out today, the new version, even more powerful, right? You can use Claude, you can use Gemini, you can use Kimi, which is, very affordable, right? And we also have our own agents that are less than $10 a month, right? That you can know there's AIs, right? Technology like Chat GPT, and then there's AI agents, right? So you have to understand the difference between those. But 5 levels in Bitcoin, 5 levels in Ethereum, and then 5 levels in USDC, right? There's 15 levels between those, and then in Sonic, right, we have 10 levels that you can activate. Um, but this platform is now live. Everyone can use it. It works the same, right? So basically, you would just put in whatever your ID number is at the end of it, right? And you can share it, right? And then when someone comes here and they go to get started, right, it'll have their ID number here. So you just verify this ID number. That person needs to, first they need to connect their wallet. Right. Once they have this account is already active, so I'm not gonna do it right here. But once you connect your wallet, right? You choose a username, right? Whatever username you want. Now, because this is scalable technology, right? I am creating my agents, right? I'm giving them each a username, right? So I can identify them, right? So like agent one, sub agent two, whatever you want to call them, Web3 agent, whatever you want to name them, you just choose a username here. You can have as many of these things as you want, right? And they can be out there working for you, right? And you can scale them. You can even build them up to a certain point, and then you can sell them to people, right? As a an income stream that's already producing revenue, and you can go directly to the blockchain and show them those transactions, right? And they can see that it's a real live account that's earning money, right? So all kinds of creative things you can do now with the platform. We have our sales university here, right? So you can come in here and you can go through this training, right? We highly recommend that you go through this training. I'll play a few seconds.
Welcome to Web3 Sonic Sales University. Module 1, the architecture of ownership. Before we talk strategy, before we talk commissions, before we talk AI agents, smart contracts, or building a network to 250 members.
All right, hopefully you guys heard that. But that is our sales training. We have a daily planner here to kind of keep you on track, right? A lot of people, we're big on training, right? So we want to make sure you understand how to use the platform. There's a lot of things to learn, right? But you can go at your own pace, right? You don't have to learn everything all at once, right? The main thing is learning how to register, right? How to interact with your wallet, right? And interact directly with the blockchain, and how to share the platform with other people, right? How to onboard them. Um, we left our original site up, right? So you can use that, right? When you log into the dashboard for the very first time, you'll see this, right? So this here is set up for you to activate your Instagram agent, right? So we highly recommend that you set up your social media platforms, right? So like Instagram, Twitter, or X, or and Telegram, and WhatsApp, and Discord, right? And you can automate your agent, right, to generate content and share it on those platforms as you go. Right now, we can't do that for you. Everyone has to do that themselves, right? But you want to go ahead and click here, connect with me on Instagram, right? So that you can basically copy me, right? You can set your profile to just copy and repost what I am sharing. And again, I wanted to train you guys and show you how to do this before I start going crazy, right? So you won't see too much from me as yet. But we want to make sure that everybody, is kind of hitting social media at the same time. So go ahead and get this set up, right? This will activate your AI Insta engine, right? You can get to the sales training from here. There's a lot of different things on the dashboard. Let me make this a little smaller so you guys can see all the links. Right, there's a CRM. We are fixing our email system, right? So you'll be able to use the CRM. Um, Lots of cool things on the platform, right? You can swap here, right? We added our own swap, right? So let's say I wanted to swap, let's say 100 Sonic for Bitcoin, right? I can do that directly now on the platform, right? And this is all possible because of the AI technology that we have, right? The AI agents are finding the best routes for us, and are routing those transactions for the best possible slippage, right? Most other blockchains, you're losing, if you're swapping from these tokens, you could lose, if you're on Pancake Swap, you could lose anywhere from 5 to 10, 15, 20%, right? On those transactions, right? We're less than a penny, right? Uh, Interacting. Right now, we have everything locked down to only the Sonic blockchain, right? However, the technology behind our swap can pretty much operate on any EVM blockchain. However, we don't know what the liquidity is for each of those blockchains, right? Because that's fluctuating, right? And in order to build something that's automated, we kind of want to make sure that we know what's working, right? So for right now, it's Sonic. You can swap any of your tokens. You can go back and forth, right? So you can swap your Bitcoin, right, for Sonic, right, or for USDC, and you can instantly swap that and go in that direction also, right? So very, very powerful. The system will show you, what levels you're active in each contract. Right. You can activate the $100 level here, right? The 250, 500, or the 1,000 by clicking, right? So once you come in and let's say you wanted to bring someone in at 250, you would just click this button, right? Obviously, they can't get in here until they're registered, right? So you want to make sure that their ID number is showing up, right? Correctly, and their upline ID is showing correctly on this page, right? And then once you have that, then you can go ahead and they can activate this, right? The smart contract will track those payments as long as they're registered and have their ID number. So you'll start to notice that we will start to scale up our marketing over the next few weeks. So that's why we wanted to do this presentation call to kind of show you how everything works, and hopefully you guys will use this presentation to kind of share with Web3 Sonic. So I'll go ahead and stop there. Let me stop the recording and then we'll open up for questions. Hang on one second.